Hey everybody, how you doing this gorgeous June day, Saturday morning, day before Father's Day. Today's an exciting day. I'm gonna take the Corvette for a ride to Charlton, Mass. That's about an hour and something minutes from here, out in the boonies. I'm gonna trade the Corvette in on another cool car. The Corvette is an awesome car. It's in beautiful shape. It does everything right. But, it's time for a change, so I don't need a fleet full of standards too. That's a standard. The Camaro's a standard. The blue Corvette's a standard. Nice to have an automatic in my fleet. So I'm gonna take this thing up to Charlton, trade it in, and I hope you like what I'm trading it in for. If you don't, well, too bad. It's my money. So I'm not gonna film while I'm driving because the Corvette is a 6-speed. As I said, I don't have a phone holder, and I don't have a third arm to hold the camera. So let's say goodbye to the Corvette. So let's get in and get going, and I'll film again when I get there. Let me tell you a funny story. Nothing to do with the Camaro. I'm just focusing on the Camaro because I'm in my garage and I don't want you to see what's left of the Camaro yet. That's part of the funny story. So, Saturday morning I was going to Charlton, Mass to take a look at a 79 Trans Am I plan to buy. It's a 403 car, had headers, aluminum intake, real dual exhaust, no catalytic converter. All the shit I would have done to it. Supposedly had 23,000 miles on it. And I had looked at it about a month ago. And I was trading my Corvette in, the yellow Corvette. And we couldn't get together on price. They wanted way too much for the Trans Am and didn't give me enough trade value for my Corvette. So I said, well, I gotta pass. And we kept going back and forth. Every week they'd call me, hey, what do you think? I'd call them. Just couldn't make it happen. So I found multiple other cars I wanted to buy and couldn't put a deal together because the Corvette is at the low spot of its cycle and value. So everything else I want to buy is seemingly at the high spot of its value. Funny, that's a funny story right there in itself. But anyway, so I found a Mustang I want to go look at. 5-liter Mustang convertible. I never had one of those. I've had a couple of SVO hatchbacks. Those were fun, but I never had a 5-liter Mustang. I didn't want a standard this time because, the Camaro was a standard, the blue Corvette's a standard, the yellow Corvette was a standard. So I really wanted an automatic. And again, the Trans Am was very attractive to me. It was, 403. I got Oldsmobile parts coming out of my ass. I just have all kinds of parts for the car, for the chassis, for the engine. So it was a perfect fit for me. But we couldn't make it happen. So I settled in on a 5-liter Mustang. There was one in Manchester, Connecticut. That's about 2 hours away from me. And it was a 43,000 mile car, incredibly clean, a lot of performance mods done to it. One of which was a C4 transmission. It was an AOD car originally. The C4 turned me off because it was not only a C4, it was a full manual reverse pattern C4. The AOD transmissions have a bad reputation, so unless you want to put some money into them, they don't hold up and they shift crappy. Nowadays, you can do a lot of stuff with them, but in those days, the 90s, 2000s, it was like a $700 R4. Anybody who doesn't realize how they were when they were new, they were terrible. They were to be avoided. They were horrible, horrible transmissions. So nowadays, you can get 1,000 horsepower, capacity, $700 R4. This guy who had the car did a bunch of performance stuff to it. The car only had a 273 axle, which, would preserve the highway driving. In those days, that was normal stuff. You'd buy a 70 Cutlass Supreme with a 354 barrel and it had a 273 axle, and that's it. You just drove it like that. They'd tack 2,400, 2,500 on the highway. That's how it was. But nowadays, we're spoiled by overdrive. So the thing with the automatic 5-liter Mustangs, they used to come with 273, 308, 327 gears. That was it. So for a 5-speed car, you'd stick 355s in it. You'd have massive bottom end power. And for an automatic, you'd put 373s or 410s in. Well, with a 3-speed automatic, I can't do that because on the highway, I'll be tacking 3,000 RPM, 3,200, and that shit is dead, as a friend of mine used to say. So it was a little bit of a problem swallowing that this Mustang had a 3-speed tranny, and to put a tranny in is going to cost me $2,000, to buy it, get it rebuilt, get all the parts to do it, and I don't know Fords at all. I know enough to get in it, play with it, and go, fuck, why did I buy this thing? So anyway, the Mustang was top of my list, but I had reservations. So I was gonna go see it. Saturday just passed. And then Wednesday, the Trans Am dealer calls me and says, hey, you still want to buy the car? I'm like, yes, but you guys can't come down on the price. And they said, well, what if we did this? And I said, no, you gotta do this. And We went back and forth, and they said, you know what, take it, just take it. So I said, fine, I'll come out Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, bring my title, my Corvette, my plates, everything. I'll buy it right there, take it home. I just want to put it in the lift, put it up in the air, make sure the frame is good, the chassis is good. I mean, it looks great in your pictures, but I want to see it myself. They're like, yeah, no problem, no problem. So I got there, and I actually filmed a short segment at the dealership, waiting for them to open the doors. And I'm looking the car over, and I start seeing things wrong with the body I didn't see before. Little rust bubbles in the front of the hood, and spider webs in the rubber nose. Somebody punched it or hit it or whatever, and I cracked the panes. I was like, oh, I can fix that. I can fix that. And then I walk around the car, and I notice on the driver's side, where the quarter panel meets the roof, the seam is bubbling through. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me with this car. How did I not see this a month ago? So I said, well, a friend of mine's got a body shop. He can fix it, probably $1,000. And I kept saying, how much money are you gonna put in this car? You're already paying through the ass for it, in my mind. So I was a little turned off by what I saw. And then the salesman shows up. He's like, oh, hey, you beat me here, blah, blah, blah. So he starts the car up, and he's revving the piss out of it because the choke doesn't work. I'm like, dude, take it easy, will you? This thing's stone cold. And he's like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. So it settles into idling, and I said, okay, can we put it in the lift? I want to look underneath it. And he goes, oh, our mechanics don't work on Saturdays. I'm like, well, I told you I want to put it in the lift to see the floors and the frame. I was quite clear. Well, I thought you meant at your house. So that pissed me off. I was like, no, I was very clear. I wanted to see under the car on a lift before I go any further. And he's like, oh. I said, dude, can you let me in your shop? He's like, well, it's 8 miles down the road. I don't know how to use a lift. And I was like, I do. Let me in the shop. I'll put it in the air. Well, let me call the owner. And he calls the owner. And the owner says, yeah, I'm down here right now. Have him come down, meet me, and he can put it in the air. So the salesman goes, here you go, put a plate on it. He goes, take the car down the street and go put it up in the lift. So I get in the car, and I go to put it in drive, and the shifter won't move. I'm like, you got to be shitting me with this thing. I drove it a month ago. It drove fine. The shifter was bound up. Like, you know what I mean? You push the button, and it's like you're fighting the cable. Like, you got to be kidding me. So I pulled it a little harder, and I could feel the cable springing back but fighting me. And I pull a little harder, and all of a sudden it jumps into reverse, but it was all the way down like by the drive position. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I put it back in park, and I turn the car off, and I'm like, okay, maybe the column lock is messed up. The car has headers. Maybe it's hitting under the car or something. Okay, so I started again, and I tried again. Same thing. I'm playing with it, and then the shifter knob falls off in my hand. So I got the round knob and the button, and I got the snap ring, and I'm like, what the fuck with this car? So that pissed me off. Added to the list of shit to fix. The salesman had walked back in the office. So I'm out here alone playing with this thing. And when I first drove the car a month ago, I noticed the brakes felt weird. They were like hard, but they didn't stop very well. So I was thinking they're either rusty from sitting so long, or there's something wrong with the proportioning valve or the rear brake adjustment. So I noticed the brake lights on the dashboard. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I cycle the parking brake, and the light doesn't budge. I'm like, okay, so it's a hydraulic problem. Wonderful. So I'm sitting there simmering in the car, thinking about the broken shifter. The shifter won't move, the brake light on. Thinking how much money they want for this car. I shut it off again, and I started again. And the salesman comes out. He goes, everything all right? And I said, no, the shifter won't move. He's like, oh, really? And all of a sudden I grab the button and I pull it, and it goes right into drive. But now the brake light's on in the dash. And he's like, oh, you're all set now? And I said, well, to be honest with you, no, the shifter fell apart. That doesn't thrill me. The brake light's on. That doesn't thrill me. And I noticed the ignition key, when you turn it forward, the crank, and then it springs back. It didn't spring back. It was stuck forward. The starter wasn't engaged, thank God, but it wouldn't spring back. Well, I said, something's wrong with this ignition setup. Maybe that's the whole problem. He's like, well, let me take a look. So I go to get out of the car, and I shut it off. And he gets in it, and he's like, look at the shifter. And he goes, oh, I can see that. So he gets out, and he goes, well, do you want to take it to the shop or what? So I said, maybe. So I get back in the car, I go to start it. Now it won't start. It just cranks and cranks and cranks. He's like, oh, did you give it gas? I'm like, I don't want to flood this thing. It was running. It was warm. Oh, no, pump it. So I pump it like twice. Nothing. Just cranks over like it's got no spark. He's like, well, let me hop in there. I said, okay, just don't flood it. And he's pumping the shit out of it. And it's kicking and spitting. And it's, you can see black smoke at the tailpipes. And now it's flooded. He's like, geez, the car ran great. What'd you do to it? I'm like, nothing. I turned the key and tried to put it in gear. And he I'm telling you, it was a funny story. And he's going, geez, I don't understand it. And I said, well, you know what? Do you believe in signs? Because I do. And I said, this is God tapped me in the shoulder saying, run, just run out of here. He's like, whoa. So I said, dude, I don't trust this car. He goes, well, I'm sure our mechanics can fix it Monday. I'm like, yeah, I'm here today with my car, with the title, with money. He said, I'm not coming back Monday. I don't trust this car. I got to drive it an hour and a half home. I don't trust it. So this other idiot walks out. Looked like he's about 22 years old, 6 feet tall, clean shaven, sunglasses. He's going, what's the problem? So I said, the car won't start, and the brake light's on, the shifter broke. And he's looking at the motor and looking at me, and, he wants to give me his wisdom. Again, he's like 22. So he looks at my Corvette, and he goes, well, sir, you can't expect an old car like this thing's 47 years old. You can't expect it to run like a fuel-injected C5 Corvette. These carbureted cars are funny. You have to do a little tinkering here and there. You have to be up for that. So he kind of pissed me off, and I said, listen, buddy, I've been a mechanic for over 40 years. I know more about carburetors than you ever will. So don't tell me how carburetors act. And then I said, son. I pulled up the Sun card because I was pissed. And he goes, okay. So the other salesman goes, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want my money back for deposit. I left on the phone to hold the car. And I said, I'm leaving. Like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this thing. I'm out of here. I'm like, oh, wow. So I got my money back, which took a little while. And then it dawned on me, that Mustang is only about half an hour, man. I'm like, hey, where's Manchester, Connecticut? And he goes, why? I said, because there's a car I want to look at. He's like, seriously? I'm like, I hate to be that guy, but yeah, the deal with the Trans Am just went to shit, so I'm going to salvage the day. It's, 9:30 in the morning. I got things to do. He's like, really? I'm like, yes, sorry. So anyway, I zip over to Connecticut to look at the Mustang, and here it is. It is a beautiful 93 5-liter LX, 43,000 miles, and the Trans Am supposedly had 23,000 miles, but there were so many signs in that car that it had like 60, 70, 80. I mean, the steering wheel was all worn out. The rubber was all cracked, so those foamy wheels. The door handles were floppy and loose. There was just so much shit. The car had been painted. The brakes sucked. It's like 23,000 miles? Who's touching this thing? The rug in the rear had been taken out and put in sloppily. It was all bunched up. The rear seats, the bottom parts, weren't even hooked up to the little hooks in the floor. They're just floating free. There was like squirrel chestnuts and shit on the seat, would turn me off. It's like, really, guys? You're asking for $30,000 for a fucking car. You don't vac it out. I mean, come on. So anyway, this Mustang is comparatively pristine. It's original paint. It's the interior is gorgeous. There's not a dent in the body, not a speck of rust on it. I mean, admittedly, this car was owned by a fanatic. The guy told me it was garaged the entire time he had it. Look at the doors. Everything is perfect. And this car's dirty, too. I hate to even film it because I haven't cleaned it yet. Shame on the dealer for not cleaning it, but he had it for a year, and he was kind of a half-ass kind of dealer. He just worked on his own cars and took in cars here and there and sold them to, kind of screw around. But it's got the black leather articulating sport seats in the front. It's got some funky, wild radio. It's got this stupid B&M hammer shifter, but, it's got a C4, so it's, the stock shifter wouldn't work. It came with a shitload of extra parts. There's extra rubbers for the doors. I don't even know why. Everything on this thing is mint. I mean, look at them. They're perfect. Everything is pliable and rubbery and pristine. All this stuff here came with it. These are a pair of, this is a box, rather, rear control arms, aftermarket tubular control arms. It's got 2 sets of KYB gas shocks and struts for it. Don't ask me why. It's got the pony wheels, which, those are cool. Again, the body is like perfect. The paint is perfect. The underhood matte. I mean, this thing is perfect. It's just a clean, super clean car. The glass is beautiful. No chips in it, no weird shit like that. It's just a gorgeous car. The top was fairly new. The guy made a list of everything he did to it. The only thing he did to it body-wise is a spoiler I don't think is original. And it's got one little drip in the paint right here, which the salesman who sold it to me said, yeah, some asshole came to look at the car and wanted to tell me all the flaws in it. He goes, this is the one flaw. I said, oh, wow, what a pisser. It's got Cobra taillights. It's got brand new headlights. I mean, look at the body of this thing. Again, you look in the jams, and the car is just incredibly clean. I mean, oh my God. So the big attraction, for me anyway, was how clean it was, but also the motor. It's the original engine, and he did a bunch of stuff to it. It's got a trick flow intake. It's got a 75 millimeter I think it's a BPK throttle body. If any Mustang guys or Ford guys watch this video, I'm sure you know way more about this car than I do just looking at it. But it's got the Maxxum Motorsports, you know, front end brace. It's got this Pro M 75 millimeter mass air sensor and 24-pound injector package he bought. It's got a line lock, which is stupid. Who's gonna use that? But I mean, he did shit like got a billet aluminum vacuum tree, you know, a billet aluminum bracket for the map sensor. Who does stupid shit like that? I mean, I don't know. But I have all the old parts too. They're in a box on the floor. It's got this whacked out battery holder. Here's something weird. Non-AC car. I thought they took the AC out. No, it's a non-AC car. Never had air, which is rare, but I don't think it's that desirable, but whatever. What else? It's got these SVE silicone hoses all over the place. SVE aluminum radiator. It runs really cool. It's got a tranny cooler down here. It's got braided lines. It's got aluminum drive shaft. I mean, I'm not gonna jack it up, but look at the floors of this thing. It's incredibly clean. Look underneath this freaking car. I was looking at pictures that they had on a lift. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. It's so freaking clean. You know, it's just a really well taken care of car. One gripe I have is the exhaust. It's got MagnaFlow mufflers. It's loud. It's freaking loud. It's got cats on it too. But the trunk is mint inside. Here's an extra H pipe that came with it. Another one of those struts. There's parts in the trunk. There's a lot of stuff. So it was a really good value. They were asking pretty reasonable money. They gave me a great trade-in on my Corvette. I really can't complain. I mean, at its core, it's a Fox body Mustang convertible. So they're kind of floppy and they're not that solid, but it's probably one of the nicer ones you'll find. So this is my new fun car, project car. I really don't want any projects. So my only thoughts are probably to put a AOD back in it, modified AOD, put some gears in it so it really winds up. And that's about it. It's pretty fast as it is. I mean, I didn't beat on it. The salesman did when he took it for a ride. This thing's fast. I mean, it's got aluminum AFR heads. They're the 165s. It's got some stainless steel headers. I don't know what they are. I'm hoping there's a plaque on them somewhere I can find. I don't know what they are. Maybe you guys do. They look big. 1 3/4 maybe. Still got the air pump on it, which I don't know. I don't know 5-liter Mustang. I would think that's one of the first things you dump, but this one's still got it on it. I don't know why. So I got to do some research. Got these cool Ford Power valve covers. I mean, the salesman kept telling me he was an older guy and he just read and talked to people and they said, you should do this. So he did. He just spent money. He swears the guy was loaded. He spent a shitload of money on it. I mean, look at this thing. This, the intake, those are $1,000 now, I guess. The heads were $1,500. So he's got a lot of money. The tranny it's a performance automatics tranny, which I think they got bought up by Gearstar. But if you go on their website, the cheapest C4 I see on their website was like $5,500. It's got a TCI 2000 stall converter, which feels more like 2,400 to me. It's a little slippery. It's not horrible, but a little slippery. So that's the story. This is my first Fox body convertible. It's my first 5-liter Mustang. And that's the story. So no Trans Am for me. Too bad. I really wanted to mess with a 403, but whatever. Maybe next time. So that's the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you liked my car. I mean, my oldest son, he likes looking at cars. He doesn't like cars, really. He's not a mechanical at all. And he said, oh, this is your new car, huh? I said, yeah, what do you think? If you like it, I like it too. I'm like, tell me what you really think, Joe. He goes, well, it's not the most, wild looking car you've ever had. The Corvette was way much prettier. I'm like, well, yeah. I said, the thing with this car, Joe, is the mechanicals of it. He goes, yeah, I figured that. It's all under the body, right? I'm like, yes, it's what it is, It's this legendary kind of, drivetrain. He goes, yeah, okay, well, I wish you the best of luck with it. So he's not a fan yet, but it's okay. It's okay. I just want a fun driver. So that's the scoop. I hope you guys like it. And now, any Ford guys have any constructive advice for me, I'd love to hear it. So once again, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope whatever you're working on is going great. And I will talk to you later. So here we are in beautiful Charlton, Mass at Gary Jackson Motors, the premier used car dealer in all of Charlton. Let's see what happens here today.